Welcome to this explainer. So, what if I told you that almost every single problem you're facing in your life right now, and I mean the heavy ones, was actually faced and solved thousands of years ago? We're talking about those big, universal human experiences. You know, loneliness, fear, failure, the dread of death, the relentless pursuit of success, love, and that desperate search for meaning. Today, we're going to unpack exactly how to upgrade your mind's operating system to handle absolutely all of this. We'll be looking at an ancient tool that literally has the power to completely transform the way you experience the world. Okay, let's dive into this. This question kind of completely shifts our perspective, right? We have this tendency to think our modern problems are entirely unique to us. But the truth is, while we're wearing very different clothes than people did 3,000 years ago, and we definitely have vastly different technology sitting in our pockets, the underlying hardware, the human mind itself, remains completely identical to our ancestors. The people who explored these deep questions of the mind the furthest, well, they weren't modern billionaires, celebrities, or internet influencers. They were ancient philosophers. There's just a stark contrast in how we spend our mental energy today versus back then. Imagine early humans sitting around a fire looking up at the stars. They were basically forced to sit in the quiet and ask deep, sometimes really uncomfortable questions. Who are we? Why do we die? What is true happiness? Now, those questions never actually disappeared from the human experience. Our modern distractions just became infinitely louder. Today, instead of asking, what's the meaning of life, we're asking, which new phone should I buy? Instead of wondering, who am I, we obsess over, how many likes did my post get? Modern life just feeds us this relentless stream of instant answers before we ever even take a second to ask a meaningful question. To bring those deep questions back, we have to understand what philosophy actually is. It gets a pretty bad reputation sometimes as being purely academic or just about arguing. But the word itself comes from two Greek words, philo, meaning love, and sophia, meaning wisdom. So philosophy literally translates to the love of wisdom. Notice what it doesn't mean. It's not the love of being right. It's not the love of winning internet arguments or just collecting random trivia facts. It's the pursuit of wisdom, which ultimately asks the deepest, most absolutely crucial question of all: how should a human being actually live? And this brilliantly illustrates a massive difference between having endless modern information and possessing actual wisdom. We live in an age where information has exploded, but wisdom, not so much. Imagine someone who knows absolutely every single nutrition fact, macro and micronutrient breakdown out there, but they still choose to eat junk food every single day. They have endless information but zero wisdom. Or think of someone who memorizes hundreds of motivational quotes on social media, but completely panics the second life gets difficult. That's just knowledge. Wisdom is the act of integrating that truth and actually living well every single day. Think of philosophy as the operating system of your mind. It's just like your phone. If the underlying software running silently in the background is corrupted or outdated, every single app you open is going to crash or act super weird. It totally doesn't matter how visually appealing those apps are on the surface. In the exact same way, your underlying belief system, your philosophy, shapes your emotions. Your emotions then shape your actions. And your actions, they create your entire future. A default, unexamined belief system just distorts everything you do. Let's look at how this plays out in real life. Imagine two different people experience the exact same event, losing a job. The event itself is entirely neutral, but the person on the left, running one mental operating system, says, "My life is over." The person on the right, running a completely different mental operating system, says, "This is the beginning of something better." It is the exact same event, but because they have different philosophies, they're going to experience vastly different futures. This totally proves that external events don't control us nearly as much as the meaning we assign to them. Change your philosophy, and you literally change your life. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is where all this upgrading actually begins. The great Greek philosopher Socrates famously said, "I know that I know nothing." True wisdom and personal growth can only begin with absolute humility. The very moment you believe you've learned everything there is to know about life, your growth permanently stops, dead in its tracks.
You have to be willing to admit your current operating system might have some bugs before you can actually install the updates.
Once you have that humility, you can draw on some of the greatest updates ever written. Take Plato, who warned us not to mistake shadows, which, let's be real, are today's social media filters, for actual truth, reminding us that reality is far deeper than appearances. Or Aristotle, who realized that excellence isn't just an accident, it's a habit built through deliberate practice. Consider Stoicism. It teaches us to focus entirely on controlling what we can and accepting what we cannot. Because, well, the weather simply doesn't care about your mood. And over in the East, Buddhism offers this profound insight that suffering comes from attachment, and that accepting the inevitability of change is how you reduce that suffering.
The astonishing common ground here is just undeniable. Know yourself, master your mind, accept change, practice virtue, reduce unnecessary desire, seek truth, serve something greater. We're talking about different teachers separated by vast oceans, completely different languages, different cultures, and entirely different centuries. Yet they all reached the exact same destination. It's almost like humanity kept discovering the exact same magnificent mountain, just hiking up from different sides, arriving at these universally practical principles for human flourishing. But accessing these principles today comes with massive modern friction. Thinking deeply is uncomfortable. Scrolling on a screen is entirely effortless. Reflection takes real work. Digital entertainment is instant. Imagine your mind as a muddy lake. If you're constantly stirring up the water with notifications, videos, and endless noise, it never becomes clear. Silence is literally the only thing that lets the mud settle. But modern life rarely allows for silence, which is exactly why so many people today confuse constant buzzing stimulation with genuine happiness.
Let's move to and see how this builds into some hard biology, because this isn't just poetic philosophy. Modern neuroscience completely validates these ancient insights through a process called neuroplasticity. This is the incredible scientific reality that your brain physically changes its structure according to your repeated experiences and thoughts. The ancient philosophers told us that our habits shape our reality, and today, we can literally see it happening inside the brain on an MRI scanner. So the crucial point is this connection. Thousands of years ago, the ancients used the word character. Today, scientists use the phrase neural adaptation. They're speaking different languages, but sharing a very similar insight. Because your brain constantly creates habits, repeated thoughts strengthen specific neural pathways. Biologically speaking, the more you complain, the easier complaining becomes for your brain to execute. Conversely, the more you practice gratitude, the easier gratitude becomes. You are physically wiring your brain's operating system with every single thought. Okay, so how do we actually apply this? Let's walk through a highly actionable 5-step daily framework to patch and update your mental operating system right now. Step 1. Pause before reacting. Remember, between a stimulus and your response, you always have the freedom to choose. Step 2. Ask better questions. Instead of, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can this teach me? Step 3. Separate facts from stories. If someone criticizes you, that's a fact. The thought, my life is ruined, is a story, and the story is what causes the suffering. Step 4, practice one virtue daily, like patience or courage, because tiny actions build a lasting identity. And step 5, reflect every evening. Just take 5 minutes to ask what you did well today and what you can improve tomorrow. Now, as you practice this framework, you're going to make mistakes and things will inevitably go wrong. When they do, think of this highly relatable scenario. Imagine sitting in your car, furiously arguing with your GPS navigation system. No, you're wrong. What does the GPS do? It doesn't argue back. It doesn't care about your emotional state or the traffic. It calmly says, recalculating. Life does the exact same thing. Reality doesn't argue with you. It simply recalculates based on what's happening right now. The wisest people on earth are the ones who stop arguing with reality, accept the recalculation, and just keep updating their map to move forward. Ultimately, philosophy is not some luxury for intellectuals. It's basic maintenance for the human mind. The reality is, you're already running an operating system. The real question is, did you choose it? Because when you don't consciously choose your own philosophy, someone else is going to install a default one for you. Advertising will tell you what you need. Social media algorithms will dictate what you should fear. Culture will define your success. It's up to you to consciously choose your own operating system, question deeply, and live wisely. So if you don't choose your philosophy, who will?